Hello, everybody. I'm Terry Owens, and this is Conversations with T.O. I love that music. Before we get to today's guest, I wanted to share a story with you from early in my career as a television news reporter. I was covering the final day of Nelson Mandela's first visit to the United States after being released from prison in South Africa. And yes, I know I'm dating myself. My assignment was to report live from the Oakland International Airport, Mr. Mandela's last stop before he left the United States. I was excited and terrified all at the same time. I was excited because, of course, this was an incredible moment in history, and I was getting a chance to be a part of it. I was terrified because I said this was still early in my career, and let's just say my live reporting skills weren't fully developed yet. In fact, they were a little shaky. But leadership had entrusted me to be a part of this live coverage. They thought I was ready for the big stage, and I wanted to make sure that I was, in fact, ready. So I'd gotten some extra coaching. I'd practiced diligently. And when the time came, there I was, live on the tarmac, reporting live from the airport. I described what I saw going on, the interactions between the dignitaries, the security presence, the huge crowds that had turned out to see Mr. Mandela off. I did some back and forth with the anchors back in the studio, and I wrapped up what was our day-long coverage of Mr. Mandela's visit to the Bay Area. It was and still is one of my proudest moments in journalism. And I was able to be successful because I trained for it. I relied on my instincts. And yes, I relied on my faith. Will you be ready when your big moment comes? If you need help with your public speaking skills, the team at Owens Media Group would love to work with you. Send me an email at terry@owensmediagroup.net. That's terry@owensmediagroup.net. Let us help you develop your presentation skills so that you're ready when your big moment comes. Of course, our guest today is someone who knows firsthand the power of effective coaching. He has worked with individuals, couples, and business owners to help them realize their full potential. I'm delighted to welcome Jamal Jones, owner of Central Valley Christian Council, to Conversations with T.O. Jamal, how you doing, buddy?
T.O., I am doing wonderful. Thank you for having me here today. I'm so excited.
Oh, I'm looking forward to the conversation, man. Hey, I was checking out your LinkedIn profile, and I saw something that really resonated with me. It said you are a purpose-driven therapist. Did I get that right?
Absolutely. I am purpose-driven. And if I could share a story with you, T.O., it all began in my childhood. As the youngest of 5 kids, I have 2 older brothers, 2 older sisters. My father is a now retired pastor, but has the heart of a pastor still. Mm-hmm. My mother, a devout woman of faith. And when I was a child, I read a specific Bible verse that changed my life. It's a passage where God is speaking to a little boy named Jeremiah, and he says to him, "Before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I had already set you apart." And Terry, that verse resonated with me as a little boy. And ever since, my mission in life has been to fulfill whatever purpose God has for me to fulfill.
Wow.
During my time here.
So you knew very early on, you sort of had a sense of what your gifting is, your purpose is, but when did it really hit home that this is the work that I should be doing?
I've always known I had a purpose, and that was actually my life verse, still is, in terms of the mission to be the person that God wants me to be. In terms of my life story and journey, if you go back to when I was in my first career as a pastor on staff with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and a chaplain for the football program over at Fresno State, where I'm an alma mater. Um, in 2007, 2008, the economic crisis happened, and it literally scared me back into graduate school because I lost confidence that I could continue to do full-time ministry and fundraise the entire ministry budget, operational expenses, salary, health insurance, all those things. And so I enrolled into a graduate program to become a marriage and family therapist. This is now my 14th, going on 15th year working in mental health, now a licensed marriage and family therapist. And as I've been journeying along in this path and venturing into private practice, that's how I ended up niching down and specializing in working with adults and couples clinically as a therapist. And as I've grown as an entrepreneur and businessman, I've become really passionate about helping other therapists in private practice with their business mindset, money mindset, marketing and sales, because those are some skills that we aren't taught in graduate school. And so I actually have a separate LLC established that's called the Purpose Driven Therapist, where I provide coaching for therapists in private practice. So we have two companies. One is the clinical practice, Central Valley Christian Council. And just out of pure passion and wanting to share with other therapists things that I've been discovering on my journey, I now have this coaching business for those folks as well.
Okay, so I was going to get to that in a little bit, but let's jump in right now. What was it about your experience that said to you, this could be an area of opportunity and caused you to dive in?
A major pain point for those of us who are wired by God to be healers and helpers, oftentimes because of our faith and our desire to love sacrificially, to give generously, and we're not taught how to run a business, many of us have a tendency to undercharge for our services and to allow ourselves to be undervalued by people who are benefiting from our services, specifically when it comes to mental health. To make a long story short, Terry, I represent a industry where the norm is to provide high quality services as a licensed mental health care provider in any given state. I happen to be in California. And as I've hired different coaches to help me understand how to not just be successful as a clinician or a provider, but also be successful in terms of running a successful business that's profitable and successful, I've really had to do some deep internal work and come to realize that I can serve God, be congruent in my faith, be a professional, serve at the highest level of excellence, and get paid well for the work that I do.
Yeah, because I know you've had firsthand experience with just how real the struggle can be. And if you don't have the business side sewn up tight, you can struggle. And you weren't put here to struggle.
And it leads to burnout,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the times that we live in with the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, all the first responders, which includes mental health professionals. Our caseloads, whether it's working for a company, a clinic, or in my case, private practice, the last 4 years, our caseloads can get really high, really fast. And when you're heart-centered, when you're caring for people, and you're supporting them with overcoming their trauma, sometimes working through things like intimate partner violence, and a host of other diagnoses that can come up, depression, anxiety, suicidality, all these high risk factors. When you have one person that's serving a caseload of 50, 60, 70, 80 people, that leads to burnout.
That's a lot to carry. So I don't have to tell you, Jamal, that therapy is still in some cultures a very taboo subject. People that know they need help won't seek it. What do you say to folks who still struggle with the idea of working with a therapist?
Life is hard. if you exist on this planet and you live long enough, it's only a matter of time before you experience some highs and some lows, whether it's in the form of feeling helpless, hopeless, lacking motivation, not able to sleep anymore, having a disturbance in your appetite, uh, experiencing times when your stress is really high, you're worried, you're anxious, you're struggling in your marriage, you're struggling as a parent, you're struggling in dating and romance. Mental health care providers, it is well within our scope of practice to support you in all of these different issues. Financial stress that comes up. Recently, I heard a story about a murder suicide because a guy was having some major financial problems. So we are talking about life and death, literally. And so your decision to hire a professional who will listen to you, assess you, come alongside you in a setting where you have the highest level of privacy and confidentiality. Investing in your mental health is one of the smartest things you can do because your mental health is foundational to your success in your life.
Mm.
It impacts every part of who you are. And sometimes there is value in having that privacy,
Mm.
especially if you're someone who has a reputation, you're out in the community a lot, you're a part of boards, or you're working in business or in government, and you need a safe space where you can let your guards down, let your hair down. Therapy
So,
is an excellent investment.
Jamal, what does success look like for you as you're working with your clients?
My clients I work with, they gain more clarity about the things they want to do, have, and be. Confidence. Many
Mm.
times people come to therapy because they're lacking confidence, whether it's in speaking skills and their professional development, how they see themselves as a person, and last, courage. Everybody has fears. And if you're going to be successful in life, more times than not, you're going to be leaning towards those fears and insecurities. So I like to say that I help individuals, couples, and organizations take inspired action with more clarity, confidence, and courage, empowering you to be the highest version of yourself, free of guilt, shame, or any regrets.
Mm. Good, good. Wow. Well, we know that without a doubt, there are people who are out there who are hurting and need some support and may not fully understand how to go about it. If someone wanted to be in touch with you, what's the best way to reach you?
I am licensed to practice as a marriage and family therapist within the state of California. So if you or someone you know is a California resident, you can go to centralvalleychristiancouncil.com. You can also email me at jamal@centralvalleychristiancouncil.com. If you're a therapist in private practice anywhere in the country, I am on a mission to help other therapists in private practice have more clarity, confidence, and courage when it comes to setting your fees, helping with your marketing as private pay, and helping you build a sustainable practice. So if you're in need of a growth coach, you can also reach me at that same email. But I do offer coaching for therapists anywhere in the country.
Well, the work is the work of someone who is passionate about their mission. I think you know your assignment and you are well on your way. I'm so excited for you and what you're doing, and hopeful that people who need help will not be afraid to ask for help. Certainly, I have sought out all kinds of coaches over the course of my career and my life, and they've been some of the best investments that I've made. And I would strongly encourage those watching this who need help to do so. Any final words of wisdom for us, sir?
Be encouraged.
Ah,
In moments of despair, self doubt, fear, uh, inside yourself, be encouraged and lean into your doubts and fears and you'll be amazed what you see on the other side.
Well, that is a word that we can depart with today. Jamal, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you, T.O. Appreciate it.
All right. That was Jamal Jones from Christian or Central Valley Christian Council. And he is ready, willing, and able to step up and help those of you who would like to have a conversation. I want to take this opportunity to thank you all for tuning in today. And we'll see you next time right back here on Conversations with T.O. Have a great day, everybody.